Joe Biden and Donald Trump face off in a heated 2020 election campaign. Held in the wake of a COVID-19 pandemic and nationwide protests, turnout is expected to be through the roof. Can Joe Biden hold together a large enough coalition of anti-Trump voters to make Trump a one-term president, or will Trump pull off another huge upset after trailing in the polls? Hello everybody, welcome back to the video, and today we're going to be playing the 2020 new campaign trail. Now, if you remember, I have already done a video on this one, but that was sabotaging Joe Biden's campaign. Today, we're going to be trying to get Trump reelected to a second consecutive term. I will be playing the 2024 edition when that gets released. I already know what that one's going to be. I'm just waiting for that one to get released. All right, so we're playing as Donald Trump, a Republican from Florida. President Donald Trump enters the campaign with the advantages of the incumbency, yet seems to be the underdog for a second time. Can Trump piece together a winning coalition again? It will be the same one that got him over the finish line in 2016. The pandemic and the Black Lives Matter movement only served to complicate his task even further. Mike Pence is a Republican from Indiana. He has served as your vice president for the past 4 years, sticking to all your talking points and staying out of the limelight. Most feel he should be rewarded for this loyalty with another turn at the top of the ticket. He also helps shore up your support with social conservatives. Okay, let's see if we have any other VP picks. Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley has served as the governor of South Carolina and as a UN ambassador. She could help you moderate your image and try to close the female vote. Choosing her would probably lead to hard feelings between yourself and Pence. But would your voters care? Honestly, playing a wild card, such as switching a VP, most situations is a horrible idea. However, this could actually be a smart move. So, typically, this is a bad strategy, but you know what? For this one, it actually could really help. So we're going to play on default, and we're going to continue. All right, let's see how we're starting out. Ooh, okay. We got a lot of ground to cover. Good grief. Okay. Well, we're at 139 electorally, so, I mean, we only need to gain 131. We need 131 electoral votes. Okay. What will you say to the American people as you accept your party's nomination for president? The crooked media is in the tank for Joe Biden and his son Hunter, and they are doing everything they can to make my term, one of the most successful ever, look like a disaster. Don't fall for it. This election is a battle for the soul of America. The radical Democrats want to destroy free speech, handcuff our police, open our borders, and implement a nationwide program of socialism. You must stop them. My record over the past 4 years speaks to itself. Record low unemployment, terrific success with tax cuts and foreign policy. If it wasn't for China releasing COVID, this election wouldn't even be a contest. We've done some unbelievable things for conservatism in America, things people wouldn't have dreamed of 4 years ago. The largest tax cuts in history, fighting for religious freedom, standing up to China. I'm very proud. Let's go with this one, because this one highlights our record. Both of these highlight our record, but I think this one's a little more specific on this one. Well, they're both kind of specific, but let's go with this one. This seems like a confident, assertive, but well-grounded theme to base your campaign on. Okay, did that help us any? That helped us gain, okay. Which of these themes will you emphasize as you most campaign for president this year? Joe Biden is a joke. Really? He's 78 years old, sits in his basement all day, probably has dementia and many other issues. Is he the person who will stand up for you and for America? The Democrats are running on a surrender platform. Surrender to COVID, surrender to illegal immigrants, surrender to China, Iran, and Palestine. These aren't people who love America, folks. Believe me. I am the law and order candidate. The riots, the Democrat riots, really, and the efforts to undermine the Supreme Court, the phony Russia investigation, and ignoring our immigration laws. It's all coming from the Democrats. We had unbelievable economic growth, and it helped out the middle class and the working people, really. Then the Democrats destroyed it with this COVID scare. It's going to come roaring back with me here. Just wait. Let's attack Joe Biden. I think that's going to be a good strategy, is to attack Biden. You have your own way of stating it, but Biden would be the oldest president in history. Is it really a bad idea to point that out loudly and repeatedly? That looks like it hurt us. Let's go to Georgia. As the leader of this country, do you plan to wear a mask as you appear at various campaign events and official functions? When it makes sense to wear a mask, I wear a mask. I have a mask in my pocket right now. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes there's no reason to wear one. Yeah, I mean, if you're in a crowd mingling, it makes sense. You do see some people, and there's no one within 100 feet of these people, and they're in the middle of a field, and they're walking around with masks on, and it's insane. There's absolutely no evidence that masks do anything to stop coronavirus. Even Dr. Fauci said so. He changed his mind because he hates me. By the way, but he was clearly saying masks do not help against coronavirus. Look it up. Masks are a big factor. As you can see, I'm wearing one right now. Our businesses are getting killed by these Democrat lockdowns. Anything that will help us reopen, if it's masks or anything, it's a good thing. Let's go with this one because it gives some examples and it could help strike a tone with moderates. Okay, that helped us some. Joe Biden has been meeting with Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and other such politicians in an attempt to unite the Democratic Party. Do you plan to highlight these events in your speeches? Honestly, I think Bernie is more popular than Joe is, to tell the truth. I don't know why he's allowing himself to be placated like this when he won the last two primaries. It's very weak. Joe Biden is acting like a moderate right now, but you better believe that behind the scenes he'll be spending a lot of time listening to out-of-touch liberals like Elizabeth Warren. Unfortunately, Joe Biden is so senile, he's probably meeting with them to get this marching orders. He's really just the crazy Bernie and commie Liz candidate when you get right down to it. We really can't say it enough. The Democrats want to implement radical socialism in this country. What more proof do you need than incidents like this one? Let's go with this one because it attacks Biden, and honestly, attacking Biden as much as we can is a good strategy. Joe Biden is definitely more popular with independents than the progressive left is. One way to hit at Biden is to suggest he's not the one really calling the shots in the modern Democrat Party. But that sunk us. Okay. Let's go to Texas. How much of an issue do you plan to make out of the Democrats' attempt to impeach you, which began in 2019? Hunter's payments were an attempt to bribe Joe Biden. End of story. All we wanted to do was look into it. And we had this impeachment nonsense. If this doesn't show how crooked the Democrats are, I don't know what does. You know, we could spend all day talking about who did what and when. I'm not the kind of guy who gets into that stuff. We had a terrific tax cut, a terrific economy. We're building the wall. We have a lot of incredible things to highlight. I was just asking questions, you know, and then we had this entire phony impeachment scandal. I never said he did something wrong. I just said we have to look into this. And we really should. And Ukraine is the country that can do it. Maybe it was illegal. Maybe it wasn't. Mr. Barr can decide that. All I'm saying is, does it matter? We know that Hunter had no expertise in the oil industry, and they're paying him $100 million a year while his father is vice president. Let's go with this one, because I think this is the one that strikes the most moderate tone, because it says, look, I just had a couple questions is all. Okay, how did that help or hurt? and that looks like it hurt. An outbreak of COVID-19 has led to a wave of stay-at-home orders and business closures. How do you address this as president? This is just a little thing, like the flu almost, and that the media and the Democrats are trying to spin into the second coming of the plague. They would rather destroy the American economy and society than see me get reelected. Kung Flu is nothing but a criminal attempt by China, an act of war almost, if you think about it, to plunge the world into to plunge the globe into chaos and undermine our election in favor of Joe Biden. Let's not forget which one of us is a stooge to China. Democrat or Republican, we need to take this situation extremely seriously and listen to qualified medical experts like Dr. Fauci. I like to call him Tony. We can all do basic things like wearing masks, and at the same time, we need to be careful about the impact on small business and the economy. I don't think these Democrat lockdowns are sustainable. Let's go with that one. The trick with COVID is to strike a sensible compromise between slowing the spread of the disease and protecting the health of the economy. Okay. You've definitely raised some eyebrows with your selection of Nikki Haley as your running mate. What made you decide to make the switch? The truth is that Mike and I talked, and he's a great man, one of the best ever, and he decided it was time to focus on other priorities and leave a legacy for his family. And of course, Nikki is great, and we're thrilled to have her on the team. I've always believed you need the best person for the job, and what Nikki showed me during her time in my administration was really impressive. She can really be an inspiration for women and children of immigrants everywhere. Let's go with this one, because it'll say, hey, look, it was a mutual thing. He actually wanted to leave. So let's go with this one. Okay, how did that help? Oh, man, okay, that's not doing anything good. What are your thoughts on the death of George Floyd and the wave of protests in the wake of his death? What will you say to the nation? This was a pretty typical arrest, really. We don't have any idea why he died. Maybe it was the drugs. Who knows? Then you have the media fomenting riots and using them to get China Joe elected this fall. I really don't have a lot to say about this situation. You never see a situation like this, whether it's the police, whether it's the drugs. It's just sad. It's unbelievable, really. I saw the video. We all saw the video. And to think this is in a place run entirely by Democrats. We've seen them cover up these incidents before. Maybe this time they'll step in this time and prosecute. Don't know about that one. Whatever happened, there's no excuse for the riots, the fires, the hatred of white people, and the hatred of police we're seeing. We have to respect our police or we won't have a country. Let's just go with this one. This seems like a solid answer. How did that actually helped us a lot. Okay. We got to spend some time up here because if we lose Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, I don't think we really have a shot. Are you considering policies such as a national lockdown or a mask mandate to control COVID-19? Conversely, do you have a plan to speak out against these ideas? The Socialist Democrat Party is pushing for lockdowns at every opportunity. They'll stop at nothing to exert their control over patriotic, hardworking American citizens and businesses. Not on my watch. I don't think these mandates and lockdowns are a good idea, really, but if that's what San Francisco and New York want to do, as long as they don't impose it on the rest of us. I would encourage everyone out there to wear a mask in public. It's just common sense and will help our struggling small businesses. There could be some legal issues around a mandate. I'm not the expert. Just wear the mask, people. We have some incredibly gifted scientists. People who've been there long before Obama was around, by the way, and we've got to listen to them. We could be talking about hundreds of thousands of lives. Let's go with the mask. You seem to be striking a balanced, measured tone on something for a change. Okay, there we go. That helped us out. Do you have anything to say about some of the stories that have circulated around your opponent's son, Hunter Biden? It's incredible that he isn't in jail right now when you get to it. Some Ukrainian oligarch was giving him $1 million to do absolutely nothing, and Sleepy Joe was in on it too. Where is the FBI? That might be a good attack if we were running against a Democrat, but we're not. We're the incumbent. Well, running against a Democrat incumbent. The liberal media would rather cover this kind of gossip than focus on my record low unemployment, booming economy, and incredibly successful foreign policy victories. We're too smart to play into their hands. Democrats keep saying these allegations are debunked and that there's no evidence. Can you imagine what they'd be saying if one of my kids was doing cocaine, making $100 million a year in Ukraine? This is media hypocrisy at its finest. Maybe there wasn't a crime here after all. I can admit when I'm wrong. I just thought these payments looked weird and that someone should look into it. Was that a crime? Let's go with this one. It's hard to make Hunter Biden stay in the mainstream news, but your supporters are certainly keeping up with the story. Okay. Oh boy, this is going to be a hard one. There's been an increase in Asian American hate crimes in 2020, along with the rise of COVID and some of your inflammatory statements. What do you have to say on this topic? It's funny how a lot of these supposed hate crimes are taking place in New York and San Francisco. I'm sure they're very inspired by me. Is wrong, and I'll call on a state to stop immediately. I'm sure any intelligent person understands the difference between holding China accountable and calling for hate domestically. All of these attacks, unfortunately, are occurring in Democrat-run cities that want to cut policing even further. Who is the real enemy of the Asian American community? Is this even a real issue or just some propaganda being put out there by Xi Jinping and the Communist Chinese Party? Let's go for this one. Oh, that hurt us. Okay. To what extent do you support emergency economic legislation to address the effects of COVID-19 on society? If you look at what's happening right now with Dirty Nancy, it's a disgrace. We have a second package all ready to go, and she's blocking it until the election to make me look bad. They're putting dirty politics over helping Americans. I'm working around the clock right now to put $2,000 into the hand of every American. We need to get the economy open again, and we need to get people spending money. We passed a terrific relief bill way back in April. I was very proactive, and we need to think about spending and deficits as well before we come out with another huge thing. Let's do this one. But we could, you know what? Let's do an attack. You might not win this battle, but maybe you can shame Nancy Pelosi as much as possible while it's taking place, which also helps us gain a little bit of support. How close are we to having an effective vaccine? And what can you tell the American people about its safety and effectiveness? Right now, we're incredibly close. I expect to have a major announcement about the vaccine any day now. Under my leadership, we've developed one of the most effective vaccines in human history. People on the left continue to spread lies and misinformation about our attempts to develop a vaccine. No less than Kamala Harris just said she wouldn't take it. That's the biggest threat to recovery during my second term. We're going to release it when it's safe to do so as soon as we can. We have the best researchers and drug companies in the world. What they've accomplished in this short period of time is astounding. It's going to happen when it happens. I'm hoping by the end of the year, and shortly thereafter we can finally put an end to the destructive liberal lockdowns that have done so much damage to our country. Let's go with this one. Okay. Oh, man, really? With the tragic passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you have the opportunity to nominate a new Supreme Court justice. Who will you choose? I'll agree to wait until January 21st to make my new nominee if the Democrats agree to build the wall, pass my stalled stimulus bill, and pass our infrastructure bill. I'm going to go with Barbara Lagola. She's done a terrific job on the Florida Supreme Court for a number of years, and they're really raving about her down there. I'm really impressed with Amal Thapar. He was one of my first federal appointments, which they don't talk about much. A really great guy. I like Amy Coney Barrett. She's a staunch conservative, a true Catholic thinker, and widely praised across the conservative spectrum. Let's go with her. This is a very popular pick among religious conservatives, many of whom believe that Barrett shares their core beliefs on religious freedom and abortion. Okay, that helped us out a little bit. Let's head back to Ohio. Many Democrats are calling for an expansion to the Supreme Court to counteract some of your controversial appointments. Will you be adding your voice to this debate? What do you want me to say? That I'd be happy if Sleepy Joe nominated 4 leftist judges to the Supreme Court in some harebrained court-packing scheme? I'm sure if he does that, we'll be more than happy to retaliate when the voters put us back in charge. I hate how politicized the Democrats have made the court, but there are better ways of dealing with it than court packing. Maybe we can all sit down together and come up with some term limits, as long as it's fair for everyone. What controversy? 3 seats opened up, and I filled those seats. Now Democrats want to destroy the very foundation of judicial independence that our entire democracy rests upon. Who cares what I think about this issue? Go ask Joe Biden about it. He's the one who will have no qualms about signing off on this insane plan if he's elected president. Let's just go with this. 3 seats opened up, and I filled them. The fact of the matter is, there's no way that a Republican will not fill these seats on the court. You're simply stating the obvious. Okay. Recent articles have discussed you paying no federal income taxes in some previous years, or having a secret Chinese bank account. What is your response? I don't know how they come up with these stories, but I can assure you they're all lies. You'd better believe there were some libel suits coming. Do I even need to stoop down to the level of CNN and the New York Times? The most important thing for my agenda is American security, liberty, and prosperity. How is Nancy Pelosi worth $100 million? I'm not saying I've never made a single mistake in my 50-year business career, but I earned my money fair and square. Any normal businessman, Bill Gates, Michael Bloomberg, whoever, they try to pay as little in taxes as legally possible. It's funny how they never go after these people as long as they fund and support the left. Let's go after Pelosi. Pundits question whether you're giving the right number here, but it is true that many other politicians are quite wealthy. Okay. Are you open to attending the customary 3 debates with your opponent, Mr. Biden? For 7 months now, Sleepy Joe has barely left the basement of his house. That ends now, and I'm pretty confident the American people won't like what they see from him. Year after year, Republicans subject themselves to these sham debates with slanted questions and one-sided moderators. Why should we force the voters to watch that charade again? We're going to obviously debate. We're going to go for this one. Pundits are unanimous that you seem by far the less presidential of the 2 candidates. Many are skeptical, though, that it will have any effect in this environment. Okay. You have caught COVID-19 and require hospitalization, but it fortunately appears you will recover. How will you act in the wake of this episode? Sleepy Joe couldn't get 100 people to show up to his rallies if he tried, so he's using COVID as an excuse. Makes you wonder if anyone's even voting for him. They say you might be contagious for a little bit, or maybe not. But it's best if we take 3 to 4 days off before we get back out there. We should all take this moment to appreciate the importance of social distancing and other precautions. It won't be long until we can roll out one of the best vaccines in history and defeat this pandemic. I'm feeling great now. I was a little sick, and now I'm not. I'm looking forward to closing this campaign out strong with some huge Keep America Great rallies. Okay, back to Texas. You have repeatedly dodged the question when asked whether you will accept the results of this year's election. Do you have any statements to make? Okay. We just don't know yet. I've heard some scary things, but we need to see here in a few weeks. It's something we'll be checking very closely. If Democrats would join us in supporting a more robust election system with a complete paper audit trail, voter ID, and other common sense measures, then there wouldn't be these questions floating around. Sleepy Joe Biden and I have an incredible difference of opinion on what is best for the country, but ultimately whatever the voters say about it, that's the last word. We know that there's an unbelievable amount of election fraud going on right now, and Democrats are making it even worse in 2020. Of course, they want me to just lay back and take it. Okay, we swapped VPs to try to appeal to moderates, so we got to appeal to moderates with this one. So ultimately, whatever the voters say about it, we're clicking that one. A lot of people are pleasantly surprised to hear you back away from some of the more dangerous statements you've made. Maybe that will include some independent voters? Okay, that actually helped us out. That helped us out a lot. Do you have any statements to make in regards to gun control or the right to bear arms? It's pretty simple, really. The left wants to take all the guns in the country and destroy them, whatever the Constitution says about it. Some of them might not admit it, but it's the truth. You've seen what's going on out there. Riots, fires, disrespect for our police. We need to do everything we can to allow law-abiding citizens to defend themselves at home and in public. I've supported gun regulations when and where they actually make sense, but leftist media wants to make me look like an extremist, regardless of the facts. I think my position on guns has been pretty clear, really. We've stood firm against any new restrictions on gun ownership. Let's go with this one. This seems like basic common sense to most of your supporters. Okay. That hurt us. Okay. Your plans for a federal infrastructure bill have stalled over the past couple of years. Do you plan to pursue this again if re-elected? How large should any package be? Okay. I'm the pro-business president. A lot of people have been saying that. We want a decently sized, targeted infrastructure bill that will keep our economy competitive and reserve an appropriate space for private enterprise. We're going to tremendously push for an infrastructure bill. And one of my favorite pieces of infrastructure is the wall. That would create so many jobs for a very low cost. But certain people don't want to protect America. We've built a lot of infrastructure already. One of the things the media never talks about is the wall. We've built hundreds of miles of beautiful wall on the border, and I'm not sure we need another big bill right now. The corrupt Democrats and their media enablers have stonewalled our attempts at infrastructure spending at every turn, throwing their own voters under the bus to spite me. Let's go with this one. Okay. Oh boy. Your immigration policies have antagonized opponents and pleased your core supporters, but your signature wall remains unfinished. What do you plan to do next? We've already built most of the wall during my first term, actually. The failing New York Times barely talks about it. I feel pretty good that the wall will be there for a long time to come. I'm doing everything in my power to get the wall built. We've made some good progress, actually, and another 4 years will really help us out. You have some bleeding heart types on the left just won't let it happen. It's okay. We have ice. We have lasers and night vision goggles. Rome wasn't built in a day. That's what they've told me. If the radical left would stop stonewalling me on every issue, then maybe we could come together and find a better solution on immigration reform. Let's go with this one. Okay. This is going to be a close one, I think. What is your rationale behind the recent truce in Afghanistan? Do you plan to pull out all American troops before the election? Okay. Liberals have been complaining about Afghanistan for years, practically since we went there. Now, when I finally want to do something about it, they can't stand that I'm the one fixing this, and they start attacking me. Our strategy in Afghanistan under Barack Obama was a total disaster with the surge. All I'm saying is we need to stop wasting our time and get our troops out, and I'd like to see that happen by the end of my term. The truce is just a truce. That's it. We're looking to see if the Taliban meet their commitments, and if not, we're going to pulverize them. We have some terrific planes, terrific missiles, and I'm pretty sure that they can get the job done. We have a timetable. I'm confident that when I get reelected, we'll be getting our troops out. Now, if I gave you an exact date, that debate depends on a lot of factors. I can't tell you what all those factors are because some of them are secret. I think we should go with this one. Okay. Oh, that hurt us. The New York Post has broken a story about a laptop that Hunter Biden purportedly lost. Do you have any comment? I don't know what's really going on here, but can you imagine how the media would be covering it if this was Donald Jr.? Could there be any more doubt they're in the tank for Sleepy Joe? Talk about October surprises. This is one of the biggest ones ever, and people are trying to post the story, and Facebook won't even let them post it. If that's not an assault on democracy, what is? Look, when it comes down to it, my policies will keep America great, and Joe Biden's will bring socialism and decay back to our great and wonderful country. That's more important than any corruption or scandals that his son is involved in. We know he's a drug addict and totally corrupt. The FBI needs to be looking into this immediately, and the media needs to be covering the story. Let's go with this one, the first one, because if we can draw that comparison, then that honestly could help us. Let's see what kind of an effect this story has on the final days of the campaign. Oh, boy. Okay. Clicking on that one actually helped us out some. Where do you want to concentrate your attention on during the final day of the campaign? We're going to campaign hard in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota on this final day of the campaign. Those are some That's a little bit of a big one. Georgia and North Carolina. I mean, we have those locked up for us. Pennsylvania and Ohio. I mean, we could maybe do that. And Arizona and Nevada. Okay, what's going to help us the most? So, basically, if we go to Georgia and North Carolina, we're winning those states. That's not going to help us any. Nevada and Arizona, we're winning Arizona. Nevada is not going to hand us the election. Pennsylvania and Ohio. And we're winning Ohio, but that would put us close, but we'd lose it. So I think we got to go Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. You know what? Let's go with Pennsylvania. I want us to focus on Pennsylvania and maybe a quick stop over the border in Ohio. Yeah, I think that'll help us out some. Pennsylvania and Ohio. Based on some early results, it appears that many polls significantly overestimated Biden's support. This may be close after all. Election night has arrived. Settle in and wait for the returns, however long it may take. Best of luck. I feel pretty good about this. Okay. Well, obviously, we were going to get Indiana and Kentucky. We were going to always lose Vermont. There's West Virginia. There's South Carolina. Okay, there's a few more. There we go. There's Ohio. Interesting that we do not have Georgia, Florida, Texas. There's Florida, okay. If we were barely behind, maybe we have this in the bag. 216, it's really going to come down to these few states up here, isn't it? Oh, man, this is going to be close. We need one more state. That isn't Alaska. Congratulations, you won this year's election. Click OK to view the rest of the returns or skip straight to the final results. We hope you have a nice victory speech prepared for your supporters. Okay. Let's see. So we've got 2 states left. Okay. There's Alaska. And okay. Go to final results. Congratulations, you won the 2020 election. We're going to make America great again. Again! Throw away your prepared remarks accusing the Democrats of fraud, because you're heading back for a second term. The rhinos who doubted you will surely be forced to go along with you now. Fake News Romney, Screechy Collins, all of them are unhappily congratulating you. With your margin of victory, Republicans have just missed out on taking the House and will probably keep the Senate dependent on a runoff election in Georgia. COVID-19 still reigns terror throughout America, so hopefully you can help vaccine rollout chug along smoothly and oversee the economic recovery. After that subsides, any one of your big promises might be your next mission. Build the wall, or perhaps renegotiate more fair deals for the hardworking men and women of the glorious manufacturing sector of America. Watch out for those radical Democrats. However, you know them, and the liberal media will lambast you at every turn for your choices. You've dealt with them before, though. Just remind them who is president. For now, just sit back and bask in the knowledge that you pulled off 2 of the greatest upsets in U.S. political history. MAGA. Look at that map. So we beat Biden by 40 electoral votes. We got 289 to Biden's 249. We won Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, but we lost Michigan. Nevada was really close. Wow, okay. Well, I mean, there you go. Wait, how close were some of these? Georgia was decided by 1 point. We won by almost 10 points. We won by over 10 points in Ohio. What I'm doing, I've started to look at some of the stats to end these. So we're going to do highest Trump win. Was Nebraska's 3rd district. Okay. Highest Biden, Washington, D.C. Highest Jurgensen was North Dakota. What was Biden's closest win? Nevada. What was our closest win? Georgia. Yeah, Georgia was our closest win. Closest state was Nevada. Most electoral was obviously California. Alphabetical. I'm curious about something. How did we do in Illinois? I was just picking a random state there. But, I mean, either way, that is it. And here's the actual stats. So, not only did we get, obviously, we did better electorally in real life than Trump did. Well, we did better in the game than Trump did in 2020. We also gained about 2 million more. Yeah, we gained about 2 million more votes and about 1% more in the popular vote. But either way, that is going to end it for this installment of the new campaign trail. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe while you're at it. We are so close to 400 subscribers. We are literally 11 away from 400. And that is it for this video. Like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.